The emerald ash borer is on the move in Winona County. Previously found as close as River Bluff State Park south of Winona, an infested tree was located in Winona's Valley Oaks subdivision this past week. Assistant City Manager for Public Works Keith Nelson said the sharp-eyed homeowner noticed a telltale sign of the insect's presence.
A local resident noticed a lot of woodpecker activity in the trees in front of his home, on these ash trees, and because of that, he went up and actually peeled back the bark on a portion of the tree and was able to see the larvae tunnels, the S-shaped tunnels in the tree, and which is a sure sign that the emerald ash borer is there. It hadn't leaved out yet, so we don't know. They didn't be able to see the dieback of the leaves, but he was able to see the woodpecker activity and then the larval tunnels.
A mature emerald ash borer beetle can travel up to a half-mile from the tree where it was hatched. Nelson said that based on the proximity of Great River Bluff State Park to Winona, he's expecting additional reports of the emerald ash borer to come in this year.
I fully anticipate we'll see more. The ash borer has been, south of town about 7 miles for several years, and then earlier this year it was found out in County Roads, out in Pleasant Valley, short ways out, just across the hill from Valley Oaks. And then now in Valley Oaks, I expect we'll see several more this year, and then it'll gradually ramp up. When we're surrounded by woods, there's really no way to stop it. We just try to slow it down.
One way to slow down the beetle's advance is through the treatment of existing ash trees. The other is to remove ash trees from the city, eliminating its food source. Right now, the city is using a combination of both methods.
We treated almost 900 trees. We figure that's about a third of the boulevard and park trees. Those have been treated, and then we have to retreat those for as long as we want those trees to survive. And it's on a cycle of about every 3 years we have to retreat those trees. At the same time, the council is supporting a removal and replacement of ash trees on the boulevard. And last year we took out about 100 ash trees and replaced them with a whole variety of trees. Our hope is to transition the change of the canopy. If we just did nothing, then all of a sudden we'd be overwhelmed with taking down trees, and the city would be overwhelmed, and then the canopy in town would all of a sudden change. The tree cover would be gone, and then we'd have to reintroduce it. We're trying to spread that out, start taking some out and replacing them with smaller trees and get them to grow back, ones that are resistant to any kind of invasive bugs, and just make that a gradual process.
In addition to woodpecker damage, there are several other signs to look for that would indicate the ash tree in your yard could be infested.
To look for the emerald ash borer, there's a couple things that are obvious to look for. One is if you see a portion of the tree up in the upper portion dying back, it's dead. That's one thing to draw your attention. Two would be is if you see woodpecker activity, which you may not actually see the birds, but you'll see a lot of the bark chipped off around one side or one significant branch, again, probably higher up in the tree. Looks like it's flaked off for some reason. Three would be as if you saw sprouts growing at the base of the tree. We haven't seen so much of that, but that's supposed to be one of the significant signs. And then if you peeled back some of the bark and saw the S-shaped larval tunnels inside of it. And then the one that is the most distinctive, but it's harder to see, is the D-shaped exit holes. When the little emerald ash borer crawls out, it digs out a hole, which is very small, but it's the shape of a D. And from what I've read is, if you're not sure if it's not a shape of a D or not, then it's not. It's distinctive. You can tell that it definitely looks like a D, and that would be the emerald ash borer.
Now, if your tree does become infested, Nelson said it doesn't necessarily have to be removed. Treatment could remain an option up to a point.
From what I read in the information, if a tree is up to a third dying back, it can still be treated and could come back. But generally what people do at that point is have the tree taken down and then destroy it as quickly as possible. What that does is, if it's burnt, then it kills the larvae and they don't spread to your neighbor's trees and everything else. If you just pile it up in your backyard and save the wood, then the larvals can still get, the beetles can still get out and fly around.
Even with the number of trees infested with the emerald ash borer expected to rise, Nelson doesn't expect the city to deviate from its current plan of attack.
For now, for 1 or 2 years, it's just stay the course. We expect it'll ramp up, and a lot of trees will be found with the emerald ash borer after a couple of years. It does. Now we have to get ready a site for a disposal site, and we have not had to do that in the past. We don't have that public information out there yet, but at some point we'll have a place where private property owners can also bring their ash trees, and then we'll destroy them, either have them ground up or burned up.
If you're looking for more information on the emerald ash borer, Nelson said there is some information on the city's website. More is expected to be added soon. He also said the Minnesota Department of Agriculture's website is the best resource for information.